You totally sure she doesn't suspect anything?
Not a thing, like leading a lamb to the slaughter.
Except Ebony's no lamb.
Thought she was so clever trapping me like that.
Yeah, that's our Ebony. Always thought she was smarter than anybody else.
I can't wait to see her face when we put her straight.
Right, this I'm gonna enjoy.
Happy New Year! It's 2025 and we are back with our first episode of the year, Series 4, Episode 8 of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, our podcast about the tribe. I'm your host Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
And Sabine.
Hi.
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 4, Episode 8. The screenplay was done by Anthony Reed. It was directed by Janet Stubbins, and the episode synopsis was read out by Sabine.
Salene feels the pressure of holding the tribe together, while Cloe yearns for independence. Java and Siva put their plan into action.
You're all very excited about getting back into Series 4, I can tell.
Hey, I said I missed you guys. I didn't say I missed the show.
You missed season 4?
No.
I was going to say, so is this new year, has it put a new perspective? Are you ready to like jump into the whole technology and stuff? But it doesn't look like it, no. It's all right.
This wasn't a bad episode, though. I will say that. Like, it wasn't painful to watch. It was adequate. It did what it needed to do, you know. I wasn't like, pulling my eyelashes out watching it.
Yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It is an episode 8. They're traditionally quite okay.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Ellie, I know how you feel. Really, I do. I've been there before.
What do you want?
Have you been taking stuff from the food store? Listen, I remember when things got really rough for me, and I used to take food and stuff myself stupid. I'd feel better for a while, then I'd feel guilty and throw it up.
When Salene notices food missing, she suspects a depressed Ellie of having developed bulimia and questions her about it, on alert because of her own past experiences with the condition. Later, Salene snaps at Pride and physically attacks Lex as tensions come to a head over the lack of food. So yeah, panel, let's tackle this first part. How do you feel about the balancing act on display here between Selene's kind of newfound leadership role, which is kind of clashing with her role as the tribe's mother figure?
I think they do a good job at showing the amount of stress it puts Salene under. Really, she is their mother, so to speak, but all the things, she wasn't used to having to be in charge of everything else as well. In season 1, she could just take care of people, and the food and everything else would be arranged by others, like Amber, Bray. They had it covered.
True, yeah.
Now, she has to both, get the boys motivated to do things and take care of everyone. Or at least that's how she feels, that she has to do that. As for her issues with Ellie, it makes sense to me that she's projecting her own history with bulimia onto Ellie, combined with, there's food missing and there's someone who's severely depressed. She put 2 and 2 together because that's what she would do.
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think this is handled really well. I think Victoria's acting it well. Her part's been written well, you know what I mean? So she has something to work with and chew on. And it's true, she has never had to be the CEO of the mall before. She was a delegate. Someone gave her a job to do what she was good at, and that's all she had to be in charge of. And the frustration of realizing nothing is going to run unless I'm making sure it runs. And just understanding finally that frustration that everybody who's had to be a leader in this mall discovered the hard way, that it all comes down to me. You know what I mean? Like, are you people, you Lex, you have the audacity to come in here asking for food. What have you done to put any food on the table? You have a job, but I don't see you using your earnings to bring food into the mall, just, that sense of people coming to you, like nobody will get anything done unless you literally tell them to do it. Like that frustration
Mm.
that I think everybody has when they first move out on their own. And that's the first time you realize like your parents didn't actually make you do that much. You're like, holy crap, I don't have a hammer. I didn't know I needed a hammer. I just thought hammers came with the house. So I think she's, displaying that frustration very well. And I like that it still shows that like her natural nurturing nature. I know people are like, oh, she's taking the Amber role, but it doesn't really feel like she's an Amber. It doesn't feel like she's a
Mm-mm.
Danny. It doesn't even feel like she's a Bray. There is still a lot of Selene-ism in there of who Selene has been known for. There's a gentle, nurturing nature to what she's doing that even Amber didn't always have. I think she deserves credit for that. Uh, Amber cared, but she wasn't as nurturing as Selene always has been. And also, I like just seeing that Selene, when pushed to the brink, is quicker to temper, which I also think is in character for her. Selene has been known to go off the rails when pushed too hard, and I thought so. I thought that was a realistic reaction for her to have when Lex he got too close to home with what he said, his insults. You know what I mean? And I also love that the kids jumped in to help her take him down.
Oh yeah.
That was freaking adorable. Lex is like, "What is happening? I don't want to hit any of you." I don't-
That was a good scene.
It
was
shows how
great.
much the kids appreciate what Celine's actually doing for them.
Right,
Yeah.
I thought that was a great visual. And I also like her telling the guys off, you know what I mean? Like, you're useless in here, and I'm expected to feed everybody. Like Pride, you're walking around with these platitudes, but are you actually helping me? I shouldn't have to tell you to,
Oh, thank
we
you.
need these things. I shouldn't have to
Mm-hmm.
tell you
That
what we
irritated
need.
me so much. Like, come on,
She's
Pride.
doing so much emotional labor. And, this is again something that we see adults deal with in a household. Like, say you have a partner, often it falls to one person. I'm not gendering it, but often it falls to one person in the partnership who tends to do all the emotional labor. Their other partner is willing to help, but they need to be told what to do. And that's exhausting because you're still doing the work. You have to delegate, you have to organize and decide what needs to be done, and then inform your partner so they'll do their part. And it's like, you're an adult too. I shouldn't have to tell you that we need food. You know what I mean? I shouldn't have to tell you to take care of that. So I think, this was all displayed well, and Selene was valid in her response, and even thought to apologize to the kids because seeing her go off the handle, she was worried of how that would affect them, and letting them know everything's cool. I'm sorry you saw that. That's not how I should have responded. I just thought it was a good scene.
Hmm.
Uh, Sad to see Lex be what he is. It's just a waste. That
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's like that's who he is now, I guess.
I know, but I just can't with Lex. It's the lack of care for human life is so season 1, and even then he showed more compassion.
Yeah, like in season 1, there was still a passion behind why Lex did the things he did, and thought the way he did, and he was still trying to survive. He was just looking out for himself. But here, it's like there's nothing driving Lex at all. He doesn't seem to want anything. He's just wandering around most of the time. Again, like he has a job. What does he do with what he's paid to do this job? What is he doing with it? He doesn't have any goals. He doesn't have any motivation. He's just wandering around acting like an idiot, and there's nothing to it. He's just an idiot, and so he's just a very sad, shallow shadow of who he used to be, and it's a poor imitation of even his beginnings.
I mean, no, I'm glad you guys brought up Lex because it really irritates me because I don't understand it. Like, Lex is like the one character who is like the closest to understanding Ellie's exact situation and what she's going through, what she can be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But he's written to have zero empathy, zero connection. Why? I don't get it. Why make him like this?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's very lazy handling. I don't know if it's because they want to clear his dance card so that him falling for Siva doesn't seem so jarring, but I feel like they missed the opportunity to make that interesting. That somebody who could be devastated over his wife, traumatized by another loss, seeking comfort in a new person, a person who's literally responsible for the reason his wife is gone. They could have done something with that, but they clearly didn't want to. And so they just cleared everything. They cleared his past. They cleared everything, any emotions he would have, any growth he might have had, and made him a blank canvas to fall for Siva, is what it feels like.
Mm.
And I like the way Salene and the Ellie scene went down. I really loved that scene between them. Probably my favorite scene in the episode was between them. It was just a nice, quiet scene. I like that Salene fell back on her own experience with depression and her coping mechanisms in the past. I love how gentle she is with Ellie. She is being for Ellie what she needed at the time she was going through that, and what Ryan provided for her. And she knows how helpful that was. And so she's giving it to someone else. There's no judgment, She makes it clear that she's more concerned about Ellie's health and not the food that she might have taken. And I also like that Ellie didn't get defensive, because right now Ellie is just apathetic to everything. And I just like how she reassures her, no, I don't do that. I'm not the one who's taken it, and I haven't eaten at all, and it's just something really sad about that scene and the reality of, like, it's one of those moments that remind you the reality of the life these kids live, and the roller coaster and the hurts and the pains and the traumas would be too much for pretty much anyone to take, and they're still children doing it. And I just thought it was a really good scene, well acted. I like that Salene believes her. She double checks, are you sure that you're not doing it? Because you don't have to be afraid to tell me. Even being vulnerable to encourage Ellie to be vulnerable. Like, this is what I used to do when I felt awful. It didn't help me, And that freedom, if Ellie did have something to confess, that gave Ellie the space to confess something she might not be proud of, and then she believes her when Ellie, and then immediately goes back to being worried. Like, okay, Ellie didn't take the food, but she's not eating, and that's bad. Like, how can I help her? And so, yeah, it's really beautiful. Selene's being a real girl's girl here, and I like it.
And it's a side of Salene we haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, a long time. And I like it. I like this Salene.
Like, again, they may not have put the work into showing how Salene got here, but I don't think it's unbelievable that she could. I just would like to know how.
Yeah.
And what she does every day, like the affirmations, the coping as she is doing. Because you never know. You might be someone who is perfectly fine with letting others lead, and you think you could never do it, and you shied away from it. You never know what happens the day you have no choice but to take the leadership, and how you'll cope. And you might cope better than you thought you would, even though it's not something you ever wanted. So I don't think it's unbelievable that Salene could be this person. I just wish we'd been given more to understand how she got here and how she's maintaining being here.
100%. And yeah, we're going to stick with Salene as we go into the next scene with Chloe.
Chloe, where are you going? Out? Like that?
What's wrong with me?
Oh, what about Ellie? Did you give her the food?
Of course I did. She wouldn't eat it though, ungrateful cow.
I asked you to stay with her.
And she told me to go away, so I went.
So you left her alone? Chloe, you want to be an adult, you gotta learn to take responsibility. Show some thought for others. Now go back and help Ellie.
No, I don't want to. You can't tell me what to do, Salene. You're not my mother.
So yeah, a few questions about this panel. Do you ever have any sympathies for Chloe's frustrations? And what do you think of the argument with Salene? And kind of like, ultimately, isn't this just a typical mother-daughter boundary testing friction?
It feels that way. Definitely feels that way. But I don't know, even to the point where Chloe says, "You're not my mother." It's the rebellious teenager versus the mommy figure. But I think it's fitting for both of them.
I don't have a problem with this dynamic between Chloe and Salene. On paper, it's actually very fitting given what these two have been through. If anyone deserves to throw a tantrum and lash out at everybody after what she's been through, it is Chloe. I just wish the show actually delved into what was going on with Cloe and how that's affecting her dynamic with Salene. And instead, what they're going for is the flat, typical bratty, rebellious teen lashing out at her mother figure. And there's nothing more to it. And I think that's a shame because there's already material there to justify Chloe having a problem with Salene. Salene was her mother figure. Salene and Ryan and Patsy were Chloe's family. And she was a child who was let down by the people who are supposed to protect her. And whether or not it's fair of her to blame Salene or Ryan or any of the other kids for not being able to protect her from the Chosen, because they too were children, she's glad it makes sense for her to feel that way, to feel like lashing out at the people who failed to protect her when she needed it the most, and now have the audacity to act as though whatever she went through didn't matter. The fact that she, as far as I knew, she was dead, and don't show any concern for how that experience affected her. Salene especially. She needs to channel it to somebody. That all that material is there on the bone, and they're not bothering to do anything with it. And it so this comes across as very flat, where Chloe's behavior could be really compelling and something you would empathize with. Instead, you're just annoyed because she's just playing a flat, annoying, bratty teenager when Chloe was always so much more than that and deserved more than this treatment. It's just they needed this role. And guess what? Chloe's the perfect age. So we'll make her the bratty, rebellious teenager. And we're not going to think much more to her motives or her traumas or her emotions and what's driving her. What is she running from? What is she hiding from? What is she angry at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that the person she's asked to look after is Ellie.
Right.
I mean, Ellie is the one who sent her into the lion's den, basically.
Exactly. They could have done something with that. Like they could have done something with that resentment of, oh, I'm supposed to take care of her. Where were you people when you were supposed to take care of me? She and her sister are the reason I ended up where I ended up,
And Patsy.
Right, my best friend is dead. Does anyone here care that you failed us so badly?
That's so crazy. I actually forgotten about that because it's just been forgotten, not referenced at all. That's mad.
Like, when you think about it, Chloe has every reason to be behaving the way she is. But the way they write it, they're not delving into those reasons. It's just, she's a brat.
She's just a brat, yeah. She's just...
Yeah. And that's all there is.
Wow.
And it's like, wow, you have all of this meat and you aren't making a stew out of it.
Yeah.
It's just watered down broth. And it's such a shame because of everything these two have gone through. This moment with Chloe going off on Salene and Salene trying desperately to reach out to her and connect with her. And when you think, like, what if Salene ever, like, if they had given Salene that time to actually think about the way she failed Chloe. Again, I'm not blaming Salene. She's also a kid, but you did take her under your wing and you have to think about it from Chloe's point of view. That's how Chloe might see it. You failed me. You don't get to play mom now, because when you didn't feel like being my mom, you quit. And I was stuck on my own. Me and Patsy were both stuck on our own because you didn't feel like being our mother anymore, So why should I trust you to play that role now? I don't need you. And imagine if Salene had to confront that and think about that, but they don't do anything with it. And so the audience just comes away from it being like, oh my gosh, Chloe, I used to love you, but you're so annoying because there's nothing backing her behavior.
Yeah.
They turned her into a cliche, and Chloe deserved much more than that. I did like the way Salene handled it. I'll give her props when, Chloe lashes out at her, and it must have been hurtful. Because all she is trying to do is take care of her and she doesn't clearly understand what has gotten into Chloe. But again, if you hadn't been around here before, you wouldn't know that there was a history and that this isn't Chloe's normal behavior because they don't talk about the fact that this is out of character for Chloe to behave this way. So if you were a new audience member, you'd never know how amazing Chloe was and that this isn't Chloe. You wouldn't know that. But imagine if Salene actually had some dialogue about that. Like, I don't know what's going on with Chloe. This was never her. They could have explored that. And so that's just sad right there, because a new audience has no idea that things have changed and that Chloe has gone through this personality change entirely. For all they know, she's always been a bit of a brat, and now she's a teenager and she's more of a brat and whatever, and but I like the way Salene, instead of continuing the argument, she just tells Chloe to please be careful, because she can't control her. She isn't her mother. She has to let her go, but she lets her go knowing that my concern is your safety.
It's annoying because a lot of the audience, a lot of fans still think that Chloe's being bratty because, Pride is giving more attention to Salene. And it's just stupid. Because it was never truly about that.
No.
I'm just trying not to get sad now, because all the great story angles we could have had
Missed
again,
opportunity button.
They just put the bare minimum. Okay, yeah, it's good, nice they reference Salene and the bulimia, but then they just ignore swathes of other story strands they could do with every other character. Just, I get it, fresh slate, fresh start they went to do, but that's just minimal effort, really.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like when season 3 started. They had all of this wonderful conflict built up between Ebony and Bray. Everything she had put him through in season 2 was enough reason for him to hate her, and for them to be at odds. And instead they wiped the slate clean and decided the new conflict was just because Ebony had come between he and Amber. You know what I mean? And I was like, you clearly wanted a conflict. You already had one. Why would you get rid of the original conflict that you had and make Amber the new one? Like, why would you do that? It was unnecessary, but they did it because it was easier and lazier. It appealed to them more than the conflict they had spent an entire season literally building and had right there at their fingertips. They're like, nah, who cares about all the crap she did to him in season 2? Amber's the reason he hates her now.
Can you imagine if they had known early season 2 that Amber was coming back? Would they have even bothered building up that much conflict?
I don't know. But it does make you feel like when they do this season after season after season, it starts to make you feel like you're wasting your time becoming invested in any of the stories within a season, because you never know which ones they're going to bother carrying forward into the next season.
Right.
Or where they're just going to wipe the slate clean. So your investment, your time, your energy, your care, it was for nothing.
That's a really good analogy.
It's like every season has to be standalone.
Yeah, I was just about to say every season is like its own standalone bubble. Really, no story strands or conflict is pushed forward and continued on. It's like, hey.
Yeah, new age groups, new kids watching. It has to be clear.
I think the only time they didn't do it was the transition from season 1 to season 2. They still carried forward.
They still cared enough, yeah, to
the relationships and the conflicts and the things they had done to each other last season carried into season 2. But once season 3 started, this pattern of just like, who cares? Who cares what happened last season? It doesn't matter. We're moving on to a whole new story that we're more interested in. And it's like all the stuff that came before just doesn't matter unless they want to make a vague reference to it. They want to do some nostalgia bait, and I mean, they'll do it this season when they transition into 5. They're going to make you care about Ram being someone who is at death's door. You want to know what it is that's killing him. And then in season 5, he's fine. He was cured with tough love. That's all.
Surprise!
There was nothing ever doing that to Ram. He just needed someone to say, "You're fine." And then he was, magically. You know what I mean? It was like, why was I invested in finding out what was going on with him?
Oh, I wish it worked that way in real life.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
Everything's fine. Everything's healed.
So it just grabs you by the shoulders.
It's all in your mind.
It's all in your mind.
Just get up.
It's all in your mind. All your issues are gone now.
You can walk. Everything is fine. You're great.
No, I'm going to go on a big rant once we get to that, because that pissed me off big time, how they did that. They just threw that whole history. No. Okay, yeah.
Not there yet.
Not there yet.
Keep it together.
Not there yet.
Hey, Sheriff, I'm impressed.
Cut it out, will you?
No, seriously. Such self-control, such willpower.
Is that we're going to report to Ebony, is it?
What are you talking about?
Come on, Dee, I'm not stupid. I know you're Ebony's snitch.
So what are you gonna do about it?
I'll think something.
Hey, I don't have to tell her everything, you know.
What do you think of Lex and Dee's evolving relationship?
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Dee is being wasted on this excuse of a character, like of what Lex is. She's being given nothing to really work with. This feels like a throwaway job for Dee. We're granted we're getting to know her, but they've paired her with Lex, who they've basically given nothing. You know, there's no substance to him, and so for me, I just feel like Dee deserves better. Like she deserves a better character to play off of. And this also feels like a kind of a repeat of their last stroll through the marketplace. I'm sorry. It just felt like I've seen this before.
Not true. Mhm.
See, for me, it feels like a repeat of when Alice became Lex's sidekick. It feels like a callback to that.
I do agree that this does feel like a waste for Kelly Stevenson. Like this, I don't understand why they didn't do more. To be honest, give her something to work with. Like she's just
That's why,
just there at the moment.
like, they're gonna try to convince me that she's slowly falling for this guy. She wants his approval. She's trying to get on his good side. She wants them to be cool with each other because she's making all of those overtures. All of her behavior is someone who's like, look, I want us to get along. I want us to be pals. I'm a pretty cool person if you just get to know me. That's her energy, and that's awesome. But why? Why would she want any of that from him when he's literally a block of wood? There's nothing cool or intriguing or interesting. There's not even like the tortured bad boy that you want to fix. There's nothing going on with Lex. He's a blank slate right now. And there's just nothing that could convince me that would make her intrigued by him or want his attention. She should just be bored out of her mind patrolling with this guy.
You know what? That's so true. I just realized that you're absolutely right. He has nothing going on. Like not like back in season 2 or even part of 3. Like he has nothing actually going for him for Dee to be disconnected to him. He's got nothing.
Doesn't say anything amusing or interesting or fun or like or sexy. Like there's nothing that he's giving her for her to be like, hey, you know, for her energy to be what it is. She should just be like, oh my gosh, is our shift over? Because you are so boring and annoying. And she's babysitting this guy. And he's not even a fun kid to babysit.
Yeah.
At least give her something to work with, Lex.
Yeah. Anything. Because, you know, her saying something like, I don't have to tell Ebony everything. That implies you want to get closer to this person. You want his trust. But it's like, why would you want it?
Why? Yeah.
What is he giving you to make you want that kind of connection with him of any sort? Now, it'd be cool if she was trying to do it because she wanted to know what he, you know, like she was spying on him. And so she's trying to gain his confidence so he'll share things with her. But again, Lex isn't giving her any reason to believe that that's happening either. Like, okay. Remember when Ebony needed Alice to spy on her militia? The militia was actively behaving in a way that would, you know, not only, you know, to make Ebony suspicious, but also to make Alice suspicious and know there is something going on with them. And then Alice was trying to gain their like confidence so they would trust her and talk to her and tell her what they were doing. But it was there was an energy going on with the militia. That is so crazy that a bunch of faceless goons had more personality than Lex has right now. You know, but that it made sense because that's what Alice was trying to do. She was trying to gain their confidence, trying to get in there, you know. So if that's what Dee was doing with Lex, that would be cool. Like that would make sense. She's desperately trying to become his confidant so she can find out information, you know, for Ebony or something. But again, we don't have the motivations for why Dee even cares enough to do this for Ebony. It's just like the script said so.
Yeah, we no longer have Maz, so
I would love it if Dee was just like, look, I don't care. I just say what I have to say to anybody so they leave me alone. That's how I survive. Like, she agreed to spy on Lex, but never had any intention of doing it. She's like, I don't care what he does. It got Ebony off my back, so.
Even if she had felt like there might be something in it for her, you know?
But Dee doesn't seem to want anything.
Nope.
I was going to say, I don't even understand why Dee attached herself to Ebony anyway. There's been no motivation really there in the character. It just feels all kind of flat.
He's the closest thing there is to Muzz, I guess.
But I mean, I was gonna say, yeah, even if there was like a throwaway line out of like, I don't know, Ebony says she'll help rebuild the mosque. I was also need something, just something to give her an incentive. But it's been nothing. It's like, right, I'm gonna help Ebony, and then I'm gonna spy on Lex. It's like, well, why?
I did like Java.
That's not a reason.
I like Java and Siva in the scene. I thought they were fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think they're at their best when they're being like playful and like taking the piss at people. Like their chemistry when they do that, they really do feel like sisters. This is just a
Howdy,
game.
Sheriff.
Yeah, you know, like I actually thought they were really cute in the scene. They were fun. You know, I wish there was more of that.
Yes.
Of just Java and Siva, because you know those are the moments that show why they managed to stay together despite the toxicity in the relationship. You know, and why they feel like this is the one person I have in the world, and even when they do something horrible to me, I'm holding on to them. So I like their playfulness, like when they ditched Ved. His face. They're so mean. Like, oh, you thought we actually wanted to spend time with you? That's adorable.
Oh, little boy.
Oh, I just love it. They use him to get out of the building. Like, I just enjoyed them this episode, I have to say.
Oh, no, I agree. This episode did show a lot about them, and I liked it. It was a great dynamic.
Yeah, they enjoy each other, and that's nice to see. Like, the secret looks they're giving each other, the little wry smiles. Like, just, that's nice. Like, okay, I like that.
Tormented by memories of both Jack and Luke, and having admitted to Salene that harming herself would solve her problems, Ellie finds herself on the edge of the mall's roof.
No. What are you doing? Shoot, go away. Get out of here. Please. What do you want?
Eat.
Where the kids appear and speak for the first time in an effort to get her to step away and eat. Yeah, what did you make of that scene?
I have to say, it's to me, it felt very fitting that the children would be able to get through to her when no one else would. Because the moment he spots them, she's like, no, they shouldn't be there. You know? Had it been anyone else, he might not have cared as much. But little children, he doesn't want to traumatize those further by jumping in front of them.
Might be a quick Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Just before you let me just get this quick Debbie Downer moment out of my head, because I didn't like it because it was quite a lot of a repeat of Salene on the route. And once again saved by a little child. You know what I mean? It's just that promise of a new life. It just that irritated me, but I did like the overall concept, I guess. But
yes, logically this all works. Logically, if Ellie is thinking of, you know, unaliving herself, and you want to just get it over with, you want to do it quick, it logically makes sense she chose the roof. Okay. And then she's trying to get up her courage as she's crying through what she's going through. And logically, it makes sense that the kids who are more intuitive than, you know, they've come across, they are paying attention to what's going on in the mall, and they are listening to what's happening in the mall, that they're the ones who find her, and their first words are eat something. They've been listening. They know what's going on. They're more aware than most people give them credit for. And that Ellie would not want to throw herself off the roof in front of these two innocent children who are basically telling her not to do it. Even I'd have trouble doing that. Okay? I don't even really like children, and I'd have a hard time scarring them that way. Like, okay, I guess I can't now. Logically, this works, but it just feels like a pale imitation of a scene that was done way better. The show has done a very good job of showing characters at their brink and how they might decide to end it all and why. And each one was unique to that person and their circumstances at the time, and it made them stand out as their thing, their moment that they were at their lowest. So with Trudy, what did she have at her disposal? She wasn't leaving that mall. She wanted to go quietly. She didn't want to go painfully. What did she have at her disposal? There's a kid who's got pills, and she sneaks and gets them. Okay, it says that scene is so true to Trudy and what she was going through at the time. Everything about even how it's staged, the fact that she's doing this in front of her own baby because she's so apathetic to her situation. She wants it over that she's not even thinking about that. Ryan stands out as the moment he left them all. He didn't want anyone to worry about him. He didn't want anyone to have to deal with him. You know what I mean? Like, he left his friends thinking he was just taking a trip because that was so in Ryan's character, and at the same time, Ryan left a note because he didn't want to be forgotten by the world. And he's sobbing as he's making this decision and even hides it when Salene shows up. He doesn't want her to know that's what he was doing. It was so unique to who Ryan was as a person. Salene on the roof was unique to Selene's unique specific situation at the time. Her deadpan delivery, the lack of tone in her voice, the things she was saying, the fear that Bray and Trudy were feeling, the fact that it was Brady of all people that snapped her out of it, that was uniquely Selene's moment. Doing this with Ellie doesn't feel uniquely Ellie.
No, she would have found a better way.
Or just something that could have been Ellie's. Instead, it's just like, didn't we literally just see this? That's all you're thinking. Someone standing on the roof, rescued, saved by a small child, and it takes away what you should be feeling. That's where Ellie was, because it doesn't feel like hers. It doesn't feel like the effort was put into making this moment Ellie's moment. How would Ellie go about this? And
it would have even made, to make this acceptable, we see her remembering Jack and Luke. Why isn't she remembering Alice or Dal, for that matter, who fell to his death? It's, if they wanted to have her this desperate, why not have her grieve all she's lost instead of just the boy she scared away?
That part too, yeah.
Like Ellie, I don't know why I assume, for me, it feels like Ellie would go back home if she was going to do this. Like, she'd go back to the farm, thinking of her sister and being where her family was last. But of course they couldn't do that because why would Mouse and Charlie be there? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it didn't feel like it was Ellie. It feels like it's staged this way specifically for Charlie and Mouse to be there, but it doesn't have that much meaning since there's literally been no connection between she and the kids. They haven't shown the kids paying attention to what's going on with Ellie. They weren't there when they heard she hadn't been eating. You know what I mean? It's like, on the surface, it's supposed to seem significant, but when you start pulling it apart, it doesn't feel significant. It just feels like this was the easiest way to get the kids to speak and to pull Ellie back. But we didn't really put the thought that we've done in the past to a character's lowest moment, and it suffers for that.
And it is a big shame because I think we've all said that the work they've done on Ellie this season has been fantastic to show her depression and her fall to this edge, but they just fall on this last hurdle.
Like her going to the technos and asking them to please finish her off, that's more Ellie than this.
Yeah, just this last part they just didn't get right. Like, the whole build-up has been fantastic, but yeah.
I do like that it's this that it takes to get Charlie to speak, though.
Like I said, on the surface it's fine and it gets the characters where they need to be, but it's lacking the punch of previous scenes like this and feels like a repeat and a sad imitation. I mean, it's well acted by Jennifer. Can't fault her.
No.
Her performance is fine. I even love when she's like, go away, go away, because I can't do this in front of you, and I don't want anyone to stop me, and the significance of Charlie speaking to her and offering her food, and that pulling her back and her taking it, meaning almost a metaphor, I'm accepting help, I'm accepting care, which I've been rejecting this whole time, and then saying just a quiet thank you. And the kids giving each other a little smile, Like, again, on the surface, it's not terrible. Just done better.
Yeah, I mean, if you're new to season 4 and you hadn't seen all the old references and how other characters have had these like end brinks to be walked back from, then yeah, you would have gone, oh yeah, this is really great.
Yeah.
It's cause we have that history and we've seen it done better. It's like, could have done it a bit more unique, a bit more tailored to Ellie.
Hey, I felt nothing in my gut. I guess that's what it comes down to. All of the
Mm.
other moments, I had a visceral reaction to what this character was doing. I felt their pain or I felt frustration, or just like, oh my gosh, like it got to me what was happening in the scene with this person. And I didn't feel that here with Ellie. And it has nothing to do with, oh, I loved a character more or whatever. It had nothing to do with that. It was just the way the scene was written with the performance and it being so fitting for that character to do what they were doing, the way they were doing it. I felt something in my gut. I was heartbroken with Ryan. I was frustrated with Trudy. I was scared with Salene. Like, oh my gosh, I was just like, oh, Ellie's gonna be fine. That's good.
What? Was it all right?
Oh yeah, sure. Not bad for a beginner.
What?
That's a few.
I don't understand.
Look, school's over, kid. Go run back to your mom and your little teddy bear. You still have a teddy bear, don't you?
But all those things you said.
You didn't think I was serious, did you? What do you think I am? Cradle snatcher?
I'm not a kid anymore. I'm not.
Hey, you stupid little girl. Now get out of here.
So yeah, what did you make of the casino scene and Cloe and Ved?
It showed us a lot about who Ved is, honestly.
The bartender's the real hero of the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised me. I will say that I was like, oh, they kind of snuck that in. I was like, oh, I was impressed by that.
That's nice, looking out for his patrons. He's already seen this guy being a douching it up in the casino, and sees this girl coming, and he's like, girl, you don't want any of this. He's no prize.
Mm.
I like that. Are you sure you want to be messing with this guy? I was like, he's the real hero.
Yeah.
That's
At
a
least there's
bartender.
someone looking out for her.
I actually do like this scene for what it is, and I agree with Sabine. I think it says a lot about the characters, and I actually don't think Ved rejects Cloe because he thinks she's a little girl. I think he says that because that's how Ved deals with his emotions. I'll just insult people and hurt them and make them feel smaller than me. Honestly, I think he was surprised at his first kiss. I think he was taken aback by a kiss. I do not believe Ved has ever kissed anyone before and may have been embarrassed by it. And so he's negging her, I cannot let her know how much I liked that or any butterflies that I got from it. I've likely never felt that for anyone before, and I can't let her know that. And so I'm going to reject her. I'm just going to be a jerk because I don't know how to deal with what I'm feeling at this moment. And
especially for someone who is avert, which she sees as, less than decent humans.
Yeah. Because look at the look on his face after that kiss. That is not someone who's thinking, wow, she's too young for me. That was someone who's like, I wasn't expecting to feel that. I wanted a kiss so bad, and I wasn't expecting to have this reaction to a kiss. And now I'm embarrassed because what if I wasn't good? I can't, I don't want to confront any of that. So I'm going to chase her off because that's how I deal with stuff.
It's nice to see the build-up of Ved's behavior before Cloe gets there. I mean, he's a jackass, but
he's a well-developed one.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'll take a well-developed jackass.
Yeah, honestly.
That's a nice new discovery, I'll say, in this rewatch. Having to reevaluate Ved, and I've never liked him, but I did consider who he was and why he was when I started writing fan fiction, and I included him. I was like, all right, I gotta make him make sense. I have to understand him. And revisiting, it's like, wow, they actually have done a really good job developing him as a character and why he does the things he does. It doesn't excuse any of his behavior, but he's like a season 1 Lex. He's a jerk, but you know why he's a jerk. He's a highly motivated jerk.
And it seeing the way he is with Cloe now explains so much of things that happen later. Because there was that instant, oh, I like her. She's not just some random vert he just picked up. He actually liked her.
And he likely has no idea how he's actually supposed to behave with a girl he likes. I mean, what examples does he have? He has his brother who basically shows no emotion except to dress him down all the time. He's got the girls that he thinks are hot who are always making sure he knows, not on your life. Never.
He's got Ram.
And then he's
Who
got
treats
Ram.
women like property.
Exactly. Like, how is Ved supposed to navigate his first kiss and liking it, thinking a girl, because he clearly thought Chloe was pretty the minute he saw her. He already had female company who's doing everything she can to get what she wants out of him. Hey, I respect the hustle, you know? No shade to her. She do what she got to do. But he was intrigued by Chloe the minute he saw her. He thought she was a pretty girl, you know? And he's playing it cool as he's talking to her because that's what he thinks. That's what a girl will like, you know? And he goes in for that kiss. He's the one who makes the move, and she's cool with it. And he liked it. And he was not prepared for getting butterflies over a girl because there's no control in that. So he responds like a little boy and throws sand at her. Get out of my sandbox. Bad for Chloe. I mean, that's a sucky moment.
Mm-hmm.
You let yourself be vulnerable and then you're punished for your vulnerability. Oh, that's your memory of your first kiss? That sucks. I swear, being 13 is the worst.
He did get her drunk as well, though. Don't forget that.
Oh, I know. Poor baby. Oh, that sucks so much.
Yeah.
And then you start feeling like you could tell when she goes home and she doesn't feel good. But you can't let the people who were already like, you shouldn't go out, worried about you, blah, 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 and you resent them treating you like a child. You don't want them to know that you're regretting what you did. You know, oh, I had a great time. Everything was great. I'm just going to go throw up and cry now.
Oh, yeah. Just a side tidbit. Did anyone notice the photo of Moon in Chloe's bedroom?
Yeah, what was that about? I mean, it's a great photo, but why?
It's a fantastic photo, but it was like, you couldn't have used anything else.
Was Moon a young model before the
right. I mean, could have been like
could have been adding to the lore of Moon.
But yeah, poor Chloe. But you'll get your you'll get him back, don't worry.
I'm just thinking of that.
Yeah, that's what makes this worth it. Yeah, poor Chloe getting told to go home to her teddy bear.
Which she just rejected because she was dealing with Pride's rejection. It's trying to reject everything about being a child. That had to hurt.
Yep.
She doesn't even want to get rid of that teddy bear. She loves that thing.
All right. That leads us to our final thoughts of the episode.
Don't listen to her, Ram. She's like a virus. You gotta delete her before she corrupts the system.
Yeah, delete her. Delete her now.
I don't think so. I don't want anything bad to happen to my new friend Ebony. You hear me? Nothing. And just to make sure, I'm gonna provide her with some protection. Bodyguards.
Bodyguards?
That's right. You and you.
Jara and Siva head out into the city on the pretense of chaperoning Ved and reveal themselves to a shocked Ebony. But they are stopped by Jay under orders from Ram, who has been tracking them and demands to see all three sisters. Despite warnings from Jara and Siva, Ram continues to be intrigued by Ebony and, as an extra twist, assigns the pair as her personal bodyguards. So yeah, what do you make of the various techno plans on display here? And yeah, the resulting outcome.
They deserved it. They deserve to be made her bodyguards, but just for the fun of it. But no, I keep wondering, thinking that Ebony seriously thought her sisters were killed off. That, you know, maybe she gave Zoot an order, or, well, Zoot didn't take order, but maybe she gave one of the locos an order, and she assumed it had been carried out. In hindsight, probably Luke, because...
But to still not recognize the two of your sisters in half a mask.
Not even half a mask. We're talking quarter masks. Quarter masks. Both eyes are visible. Everything about their features is fully visible. They thought they were being so epic with that face reveal, with the girls pulling off their little face plates. Like, that might work if their faces were covered to begin with. Maybe. That could have been a cool moment. But literally, the audience already knows what they look like, and Ebony she can see 3/4 of their faces. Okay, this little reveal is supposed to what puts it all together. This is terrible, terribly done. And they thought it was cool, which is the saddest thing of all.
They thought it was so cool. They put it in the end credits. They
thought it was amazing. They were so proud. Someone was so proud of that shot and that reveal. And I think they expected the audience to go, or something, Meryl is struggling to look surprised. I have never seen Meryl struggle with an acting choice as much as she is right this second. Like, oh, right, I'm not supposed to have been able to tell who they were at all, so I have to look shocked. Thank God Jay ends all of it and steps in, because I was like, please, somebody stop this ridiculousness. And then these two freaking James Bond monologuing it. You could have just killed her. You have the zappers. Just get rid of her.
Yeah.
Problems would have been solved. They're just circling her.
The stalling was too much. Yeah, it just went on a bit too long. It was like, okay.
Like they knew someone was supposed to interrupt him, and they were killing time until he got there. Like,
like, has he missed his mark? Is he here yet? What's going on?
I also don't think it's well framed, like well shot to feel any tension, because Ebony doesn't even seem concerned. She just seems annoyed, inconvenienced. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't seem like she's threatened. She, like, later she'll be like, I should thank you for saving my life to Jay. I'm like, you didn't look like you were scared of your life at all, Ebony.
She wasn't.
I mean, no.
It's like, to me, it always felt like the only reason she thanked Jay for saving her was, because it gave her a nice damsel in distress moment in his eyes. But I think she was mainly annoyed with, man, my sisters, seriously, they know too much. They tend to wreck my fun things. They might take Jay and play with him. And there goes my scheme.
The scene fails for that, because it doesn't feel like Ebony's being saved from anything, or is in any danger, or seems to think she might be in any danger. There's no tension. She's just annoyed that, my annoying sisters.
Yeah, I don't get that. Why they didn't even play up the tension? Like, okay, you failed with the whole reveal thing. We get that. But then, like, they didn't even, threaten her properly. They didn't, hover the zappers over her. I mean, there was no conflict. I don't get it.
Could have been a great moment for Ebony to look like she's a little backed up against the wall and isn't sure how to get out of this. Like, oh, crap. Okay, she's aware they have they got reason to be pissed off at me. Maybe I don't agree with them that I was in the wrong, but I know they're pissed off at me. I know how they feel about me. I know they want me gone. There should be a little tension going on with her, just eyes flickering. How do I get out of this? I can't talk my way out of it. They're not going to listen to me. And a tiny bit of relief when Jay shows up. And whew, okay. She doesn't have to show a lot because she likes to bluff, but there should be something there. Because there's no tension. Like, who actually thinks Ebony's in danger in this moment? Aside from, Java and Siva.
The most danger she was in was of them pulling her hair.
Or talking her to death.
That's what it felt like, yeah.
Because her stance is, I'm being lectured by an annoying parent figure. And I really couldn't care less what they have to say.
I mean, that was kind of Jay's angle as well. It felt like, being talked down to by dad. It was like, okay, go put your toys away, children. It didn't even feel like he was rescuing her. Yeah. Even from his performance. It's
just poorly shot. Not a lick of tension there. It just does not land. They think you pinned a lot on this scene. Didn't land in any way. And the scene later with Ram, honestly, I don't feel like much is happening except, Ram in his games. Clearly, he's the only one who's really running the scene. Java and Siva constantly piping in I don't know, there's something about the dialogue that's not working. They're not reading the room, which I think is weird for Java, who's already been shown to be able to read the room with Ram. But I did like Ram's performance. Jay is a beautiful mannequin in the background, just watching all this go down. It didn't land. It's not an impactful scene, and it should be. The only thing it accomplishes is that Ram is going to he's already fascinated with Ebony. She's a new collector's item. He wants it. He was already watching the video of her, in the fight and getting off on that, and
Ugh.
so super excited to have her here to play,
New toys.
That's it. That's all that's, and that's all the scene really accomplishes for me.
Yes, establishing.
It says a lot about Ram.
Yeah.
They're like Pokemon.
Yeah.
He wants to catch them all.
So Tom is doing great in the scene. He's chewing the scenery, all that. I just don't think the dialogue's that great. And there's nothing intimidating. There's no tension. And it doesn't feel like a good payoff to what we were sort of, like they were building up Ebony being reunited with her sisters and her sisters wanting her gone. This doesn't feel like a good payoff to it.
Yeah.
Like, these girls are supposed to be scary. Come on. Pull something off that's more towards, the guardian trying to get her into the water.
At least we know the sisters have this in common. When it comes to killing someone, they'd rather talk about it than do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the most decisive Ebony's ever been about killing someone was when she tried to kill Tysan.
Mm.
Like, she just she needed to do. Tysan just got lucky. That's literally it. She got lucky. That's all. She accidentally knocked over her poison, and Bob caught the stray. You know what I mean? Ebony just went in and did what needed to be done. Never that decisive again, ever. Then again, season 2. Season 2, Ebony. Take no prisoners.
She gets there. She almost gets there in the end of season 5. Ruby. She's like, you ain't getting in my way. You ain't getting in my way. And she just pushes her. It's like, almost recaptures that, but yeah.
Almost does. That was a decisive move right there.
Yeah. Spur the moment, like, no, this is it. But yeah, I know, I get you. We don't get that from Ebony again.
Like, had she actually wanted her sisters dead, they probably would have been.
And see, I mean, this is a whole story that we don't even get. We don't learn anything about their time in the Locos. We don't learn about what Ebony actually did to them.
Nope.
We don't learn how they escape.
Honestly, what I recall when Java gives the story is that they promised they'd stick together after, the virus. And that's what they were going to do. And then Ebony took up with Zoot. And I think Java and Siva didn't think it was a great idea, but they all agreed to join the Locos for their own protection. And then Ebony ousted them. That seems to be all that happened. She ousted them from the Locos. There was no death threats. She didn't do anything to their parents, so I don't know why this is for Ma and Pa.
Thank you.
All she did was get you kicked out of the Locos. And I understand that sense of betrayal, but is that worth murdering somebody? You seem to have done fine for yourselves.
Yeah.
They made it sound like they had built a tribe of their own, and she did a Tyler Durden on them or something. And it's like, all she did was get you kicked out of the popular club.
Yeah, they made it sound like it's so deep what she did to them and their family, but like, no.
And yet, and yet, Trudy doesn't even seem to recognize him later on.
It's just so crazy because when we know what Ebony's actually capable of and all the crimes that she's committed, you're like, that's what she did. You got off easy.
I mean, yeah.
She framed a young woman for murder. Come on, Ebony, she has no chill. She left a sick and injured woman on a mountain to die. Dug her grave and told all her friends she was dead. Like, Ebony has done some stuff.
She handed over a young mother to
a cult. A
cult. I mean, just kicking you out of a tribe is just easy. Like,
that's
wow.
Easy.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be there in the first place.
Exactly. So I was like,
oh, wow.
What are you crying about for?
Like, you didn't get along with your sister, didn't like her.
I wonder if she got rid of them because he thought Zoot might be looking at them.
Probably, but again, of all the things she could do to you, all she did was get kicked out of the tribe. Yeah, be mad. Not want to see her. She's toxic. Cut her out of your life. Go no contact. But no, let's kill her because she's done so many horrible things, and that's what you told us she did. Oh, also, she got better presents than Java. We know that, apparently. That's also worthy of being murdered. Really, guys?
I dropped the ball on that.
They did.
I'm speechless. Like, this was the big reveal. This was the big event. This is what caused the rift in your family. Is like you just got kicked out of the tribe. Like, okay.
When it sounds like you always had an issue with her because she was preferred or she was just better at everything. That's all it really sounds like, you know. And I think that just sucks for Java and Siva because they have such a good build up. Now it makes them, when you find out like their issues with Ebony, it does sound like petty sibling rivalry, you know? And again, I'm just not really sure what the point was of introducing the sisters. Was it just to make Ebony look better? Like, oh, she could have turned out so much worse. I really don't know what they were going for. This is your opportunity to really show, you know, what Ebony was like before the virus. And it just sounds like these sisters just couldn't get along when they were children. And there was just a lot of jealousy. And apparently at the end, it was all Java's fault. It's all Java's fault. Like, okay. Java just couldn't handle her little sister being prettier, smarter, more ambitious, better at charming people, getting better presents. And poor Siva was just stuck in the middle, I guess.
Yep.
Lame payoff.
Yeah, that's what you can say about it. It's just lame. Disappointing and lame.
At least when Ebony wants to kill someone, it's because they're legit in her way of some goal she has, you know? It's very straightforward. You're in my way. So yeah, not a terrible episode. Didn't make me cry.
Yeah, it was alright. Just like as we were going through it again, it was like there were some nice bits. Like there were some nice bits.
I think there were more good bits. Oh, obviously they could have been way better. But I think there were more good bits than there were like bad ones.
Yeah.
You know, it evened out. But no doubt, they could have done way better with some of these characterizations and conflicts that already exist, blah, blah, blah. Could have done way better. Elevated any of these scenes.
And on that show, you know, that brings Series 4, Episode 8 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe, and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Eagle Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. And we'll see you next time for episode 9. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Bye.